Hello, everyone. I'm Amanda Reda, and I want to walk you through today how you can set up your GitLab for the most scalable and effective organizational setup. The goal of the presentation today is to provide you with practical strategies for when you're setting up your GitLab environment. We want to support scalability and efficiency here. I'm going to explore and help you understand how to organize your groups, subgroups, and projects, how to manage user permissions, and how to leverage GitLab's inheritance model. Proper setup is crucial for any organization using GitLab, and a strategic and well-organized plan can help you streamline this and get your GitLab subscription off to the most productive start. In this session, I'm going to cover the organizational structure within GitLab, how organizing work and defining where access is granted is going to benefit your downstream processes. And we're going to talk a bit about the GitLab inheritance model. So let's go ahead and get started. So on this slide, I've kind of demonstrated the GitLab organizational setup here, and I've highlighted two separate areas of organization. The top being the org structure. This is where you're going to grant access to your users, and the bottom being the development structure where work is actually being done. We allow you to model your hierarchy using groups, subgroups, and projects. This setup is essential for managing permissions, as I mentioned, and configurations that cascade down into those groups and subgroups in a lower hierarchy. I'll get into this a little bit deeper in a future slide. By using groups and subgroups, you can plan strategically and apply agile principles more naturally across your projects. This approach ensures that organizational structure supports both strategic and effective team management. Okay, so let's zero in on just that permission piece. User permissions and access management are obviously critical components to a well-structured setup. By connecting your identity and access management systems at the group level, you can provision GitLab users using SSO or SAML with your provisioning systems. This simplifies access management for large enterprises and folks who want to take the manual processes down through automation. And it will allow you to easily grant access to groups and projects. Organizing groups into a single team also, or a single subgroup also enables collective group mentions. Just like anywhere in GitLab, when you mention a user, you can also mention a group. You can also create non-group development projects beneath this organization layer if you want to have internal projects tracking discussions or processes or meta work. So let's see how we bring the concept of permissions and defining work in together. So at the top level, groups provide a layer for strategic planning, portfolio level planning, governance, and management. Subgroups nested within groups offer an additional level of organization, allowing you to manage different departments or projects under that same umbrella. Whereas projects are where teams collaborate, plan, and write code and deliver applications. This structure helps you in organizing work efficiently and ensures that everyone knows their roles and responsibilities. Now let's layer in access. So let's say that we have 3 development teams and we give them access at different layers, different levels rather. Squad A has been added to this subgroup. So Squad A will have access to edit the information in this subgroup project below and the projects below. Whereas Squad B has been added at the ultimate parent. So Squad B will have the ability to edit information in anything in this group and below. Whereas Squad C, we could think of them as maybe a consulting group or a group that you want to have limited access, only has access to this particular project. Let's see how we can take the things that we've learned in terms of organizational structure and how we can apply and work at different levels and apply access at different levels and see how different settings within GitLab are affected by this hierarchy. When it comes to planning milestones and iteration, we provide flexibility to suit different needs. You can create group level milestones for broad visibility or when milestones need to be shared across multiple groups. An example of this is when you're using milestones for larger time boxes. For example, program increments or quarterly planning or annual planning. This is consistent across teams, so you want that at your ultimate group level so that teams could use that particular milestone in a consistent way across the organization. For project-specific time boxes, you can create milestones and iterations at the project level. This is for teams that have their very specific definition of what a milestone is, the start and end. If they have different phases than other teams, you want to create those at the project level. For teams working across different groups, be sure to set iterations at the parent group or at a higher level so that you have unified tracking across that initiative. This approach ensures that all team members are aligned and can track progress effectively. Thinking about standardization of workflows using templates and labels, you want to be cognizant again of where you are configuring these tools. The workflows that you'll be using templates and labels for are typically to maintain consistency, data hygiene, across your organization. So think about where that information needs to be accessed. Does your organization require a specific configuration of every issue or every epic? If so, you want this at the highest level. So you create templates and labels at the higher levels to ensure that they cascade down to all subsequent subgroups and projects, which creates this consistency across the organization. This also reduces manual repeating of creating the same types of tools in different areas. You can, when you create the templates, when you create the labels at the higher levels, you can look at issue boards and epic boards at lower levels using those labels. For workflows that are unique to specific projects or teams, create the templates and labels at lower levels. You can mix and match this idea as well, where you have organizational structures in place and you've created the templates and labels at a higher level, but you've married that also with very specific needs of teams and created those specific constructs at the lower levels. I want to highlight that templates are technically created and stored in a project, but where that project lives within what group is what's going to dictate where it cascades to. Now, this image is a little hard to follow. In fact, we're going to be looking for a better visualization, but it really helps to illustrate the power of the GitLab inheritance model, because inheritance actually works by sending information up and down, depending upon what we're talking about. This feature, the inheritance model, allows settings, permissions, and configurations made at higher levels to automatically apply to those lower levels in the hierarchy. Conversely, data at the lower levels is instinctively made available at the higher levels of the structure. So for example, if you are in, and let's go back to that slide with the group, I think it was this one here. If you have issues created in this project, and you pull a list of issues from this group, you will see that because we are sending that information up so that your executives, your program managers, folks who want to look across projects can see the data without having to know exactly where it lives and navigate down into that. So coming back to the inheritance model, as I mentioned, this allows you to get visibility across your entire portfolio at that higher level group, but also gives you the distinction at the lower level to only see that siloed body of work. So at the very lowest level project that I showed you, if you go to that issues list, you're only going to see the issues specific to that project. As I mentioned, the inheritance model is a very powerful feature. And when you are creating things like milestones and labels at those higher levels, those cascade down in terms of inheritance into the subgroups and projects, just like the templates and the rest of the settings and features. This is the last slide here that I have, and I just want to thank you for your time. I hope this helps you to create a better scalable environment for your team. If you have any questions, I have provided my my GitLab handle in the description, as well as several resources for the topics that we've discussed today. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.